I don't care. The cat can be in it.
Okay, Carolyn, what is your rationale for choosing the specific strategies you used for teaching fluency?
One of the things we're learning again and again, especially in our text samples and Carstrip, is the critical area in the upper grades of vocabulary for developing true reading speed and accuracy of reading. So we really have to build academic vocabulary for these kids so they can be successful in their future content reading. And then I discovered that when I was vocalizing with the kids, just simple short vowel sounds, that they were actually not correctly vocalizing the English short vowel sounds. The general reading level in the classroom is in the bottom quartile for 3/4 of the kids. So I realized we needed a fundamental phonics approach. So I decided let's do a fundamental phonics approach and then build right up to syllabication, and then let's really go at the science academic vocabulary.
Okay, that sounds great. How effective did you feel that your direct instruction was?
The kids were wonderfully motivated. They really participated actively. I do a lot of TPR, and they were just not quite leaping out of their seats, but very involved. The choral and echo assisted teaching strategies that I used had just 100% participation. When we got to the end of the lesson where the kids were actually using the diagram and the schema to identify the examples of the different vocabulary, they were actually 95% able to put them into context when I reviewed the formative assessments. So I felt that was successful.
Okay, and areas of strength in your teaching?
I'm a really TPR type teacher, and I think our very active young students, 9 and 10 years old, need that total physical response. I think they need multi-sensory involvement. Almost a half of our class have different kinds of special needs, and so we want all different kinds of universal access, so they have multiple expression forms and multiple forms of representation. So I feel really getting in all those forms of representation. I have a background in Spanish. I know the cognates, and so I really go for reinforcing bridging from the Hispanic culture to English.
Okay, that's a real advantage for those kids. The last question is identify areas that could use improvement, and how might you improve them the next time you teach this lesson?
I think the lesson was a little bit overwhelming because I took 4 huge vocabulary words and introduced them all in one lesson. I was thinking, oh, this is like a reading lesson, and typically our vocabulary bank is 8 to 10 words. But I was making such a big jump into science, and I think the most I should have taken was 2 words, and I'm even thinking start with maybe hydrosphere and then atmosphere. They're both related to water, and I should have just started with surface water and examples the kids can see, and then going in kind of the water cycle to atmosphere and not get into biosphere and geosphere. I think I was just covering too many concepts to really be thorough.
Can we say you were a little overzealous?
Is this getting recorded?
Yes.
I wouldn't say zealous. I would say ambitious.
There we go.
I wanted to get the foundation for the science units we're going to be studying for the next month. And I knew with the group I had, who are basically 2nd and 3rd grade readers, that the only way we could read our Harcourt text, which is a Lexile, it's really up at almost 6th grade, is to really hit the vocabulary fast and hard. So I really was enthusiastic and energetic, and the kids, I think, reflected my energy. But I realized afterward that I was a little bit of kind of on a speeding train at the end to try to cover everything. So I definitely would have chunked it and slowed it down and made it into probably a week's worth of lessons.
That's our problem. We never have enough time. Anything else you want to comment on about your lesson?
Excuse me?
Is there anything else you want to comment on regarding your lesson?
An interesting thing happened. The lesson was on Friday, and afterward I had to go to a resource meeting for a student. We were there another 2 hours after school on Friday. And the little boy was called in to the parent meeting with our resource specialist and the principal and everybody. And right there, he was totally enthusiastic about atmosphere and hemisphere and our Greek roots. And he had already reported them excitedly to his father. And this is a child who's been in the not met level of proficiency almost all of his life. So that was pretty exciting to get an immediate feedback from a child who they told us all last year didn't want to go to school.
Oh, that's exciting.
And now he's excited about it. So that was enough for me.
That's a success story.
Yes.
All right. Great.